Hi everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper, and today I have another video for you using the Wild Ferns stamp set and dies. And as promised in one of my previous videos, today we're going to be using these edge corner dies. So let me just bring in the card to show you. So this is the card I've designed. Quite a simple card to put together. There are a few layers. But it shouldn't take long, so let's get started. Okay, I'll pop that card to one side. So I'll bring in all my bits and pieces that I've already prepared. Okay, so first of all, I've got a piece of old olive cardstock. So this is half of an A4 sheet cut lengthways at 10.5 centimetres and scored across at 14.8. So that gives us a top fold card. Then I have a piece of Very Vanilla, and this is cut at 10 centimetres wide by 14.8 long, and that is going to mount up on our card front like that. Then I have a piece missing, it looks like. I'll find it in a second. Then I have the corners that I've die cut out, and there are two corners. Yes, so on my previous card I think I have used two the same, and I've got two the same on this. Yeah, I have. So if I just bring my previous card back in to show you, this was not my intention. It was supposed to have one of each. So this is one of the die cuts and this is the other. So you can see this one was supposed to have gone down here, but anyway, we can live with that, and I clearly haven't glued that down on my card. Oh my goodness me, I've got things, I've got Tombow with glue sticking all over the place. Oh, I think this one has an empty one, so that one's going to have to go. Let's see if there's anything left in this one. No, I think that one's finally empty, so that can go. Right, that makes life a bit easier. Not so many glues in my pot. I always leave them standing up in a mini jam jar. Right, that was supposed to be glued on there and I clearly didn't do it. I always leave them standing upside down in a mini jam jar like this, little tiddly one. So the glue's always at the end that I want it. Right, let me take that back out of the way. Okay, so we should... I've lost a piece. Oh, never mind, I'll have to cut another piece. So there are corners. Base card, first matte layer, our corners, and there should be a piece of green. I'm just going to pinch it out for somebody else's. I'm prepping my kits for my class, my face-to-face class on Saturday next week, so I've just nicked a bit. So there should be a piece of green, another piece of old olive, and that is 6 centimetres by 7.5 centimetres. Then we've got another piece of Very Vanilla, and this is 0.5 centimetre smaller all round. So that is 5.5 wide by 7 long. And then I've gone ahead and stamped and die cut one of the ferns from the stamp set. And the one I've used is this curly one. I love how ferns unwind themselves. It fascinates me. Spirals in nature. Okay, so let's put some of these pieces to one side and we'll get our stamping done. So the first thing I'm going to stamp is the curly fern. Just grab a block. These are the blocks that come in our stamping kits. You know, the kits that you can buy that have a stamp set and a block as well. And they're really useful because they're nice and light. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is stamp randomly, which is why I've got my scruffy piece of paper here. We're going to stamp over the first Very Vanilla matte layer, and I want it to be quite pale. I don't want it to be full strength old olive. I want that sort of vintagey look. So what I'm going to do, there isn't a colour that is paler than old olive that is the same tone. If there was, I would be using it. So what I'm going to do is ink up my pad, stamp it off, and then stamp, and I'm going to do that on the 4 corners. As I said, I want it to be more of a shadow than a definite pattern, and then I'm going to come in each side on the long side, and then just with the top I'm going to fill in my gaps. Okay, and I think that will be fine, so we'll put our Old Olive ink pad out of the way and we can get rid of our piece of scruffy paper. Okay, so what we're going to do now is mount this on to our card base. Now, part of me did want to ink around the edge of this, but I've restrained myself. Those of you that watch my videos will know that I quite like to ink around the edges. But today I want a vintagey look, but clean and simple lines. Okay, so that's that on there. That's that one. Now what we need to do is attach the edges to our Old Olive panel. So I'm just bringing in my take your pick tool and just getting out any of those small pieces that have decided to stay in there. I think we've pretty much got them all. Yep. Okay, so the thing you have to remember with this, don't do what I nearly did and turn it over and put the glue on the back, because you can see there's a right and a wrong side. So that is the right side and this is the wrong side. And immediately my first thought was, oh, I need to put that on the back, but you don't, because we're not sticking it on the front, we're sticking it behind. So you need to put your glue along this frame section, so we're not going to see any of this frame. In my head I want to work out whether I can actually join that all up to make a solid frame, but I haven't got that far yet. So I'm going to stick that onto my piece of card. Turn it over and give it a press, just make sure it's lined up. And then we're going to do the same thing at the other corner with this other one. Now, I've made a rookie move. So you can see that that is too wide. That is going to stick out the side of our card. Because I've got two that are the same. The other two are narrower. So how are we going to get around that? Okay, let's have a little fiddle. So this is going in the middle and the other two fitted into the middle of a C6 card. As you can see, this is a little bit wide. So we might have to turn this, yes, we'll have to turn this panel this way, which is different to the other card. Okay, that's fine, we can work with that. We'll have two alternative views, won't we? So again, I'm going to apply my Tombow onto the frame section. So that's worth bearing in mind, is that one of these frame sections is wider than the other. Okay, and I'm just going to line that up on the top there. And then that's it. So instead of us being able to put it that way, it's going to have to go that way, which will be fine. It's just very slightly over the edge of the card, but I think we'll be okay. And our very vanilla panel will go that way, which means that our fern doesn't really fit, but we can make it fit. Okay, so what we're going to do now is glue the very vanilla piece of cardstock to our Old Olive section with the frilly edges. I'm just going to, again, I'm using my Tombow. You can use whatever glue you favour, but I prefer to use Tombow because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, and that is going to fit in there like that. And as I said, it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to hopefully get it straight. Okay, so that's going in there, and that is going to fit on the front of our card like that. Now, okay, our fern Doesn't really fit, but I think we can trim it down. So the bottom part of the stalk, this piece here, I'm going to chop that off at the bottom leaf. A little bit of paper surgery. There we go. Okay, so now this piece gets stuck on with wet glue again. It doesn't pay to put too many raised layers on a card if you're intending to put it in the post, because what will happen is the recipient at the other end will get charged. Okay, now I just need to hold that up to make sure that's level. Yep. Okay, so we're going to press that down. And then our fern is going to go on some dimensionals, and I think I used minis. I think this was just a little big for the full-size ones. Okay, so I've got some mini dimensionals on there. I'm just going to bring in my pot of dimensional backings. Fingers are now very gluey and they don't want to come off. Okay. Some people use their take your pick tool to get the backings off so they don't go everywhere, but I find it easier just to flick them in over a pot. Okay, and then I'm going to put the lid back on that. Okay, and then our fern is going to sit in there like that. So if I bring back the other one, you can see that these pieces here, top and bottom, are smaller, so we've had to turn this around, but the envelope for a C6 is very slightly bigger than a C6 card. So although I must admit I do prefer it like that, I'm not quite sure about that. I think I might perhaps stamp another one of these ferns and put it over the top. Yeah, in fact I will do that. So I'll pop some pictures on my Facebook page, which is also the Crafty Yellow Camper, and then you can see the finished cards. Okay, so quite a quick and simple card. Obviously I'd prepped the die cutting before I filmed, but it didn't really take me too long to die cut those pieces. I hope you like the cards, and I hope if you've got this set you'll give it a try yourself, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching and happy stamping.